You're listening to the Women in Cybersecurity Podcast, where global voices meet to inspire, inform, and ignite change in the world of cyber. Hosted by Yuri, Diogenes, Alexandra Francu, and myself, Iulia, Iancu, we bring you real stories, expert insights, and bold conversations from the front lines of cybersecurity. Now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to Women in Cybersecurity Podcast. We're here today to welcome you. My name is Iulia, Iancu. I'm here with Yuri, Diogenes, and Alexandra Francu, my co-hosts. Today we'll be discussing about our podcast. Let's just start the conversation.
We will get to know each other a little bit more.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited about this new podcast. We've been working on this Women in Cybersecurity program for over a year now, and the podcast is a spin-off of this project, right? Because we decided to bring this to the public community outside of Microsoft and really bring people from the field to give more insights about the cybersecurity world from the woman perspective, which also helps to bring more awareness about the opportunities and everything. So I'm going to start asking some questions, and we will have this open conversation. And Iulia, you were one of the first members of the Women in Cybersecurity Program last year. It's a 6 months program, and I want to go really back to the rationale. Why did you apply for the program? Were you already working with cyber, or is cyber something that you are just passionate about and you wanted to learn more? How was that?
So the opportunity caught me maybe the first week of joining Microsoft, and actually Alexa was the one who shared that with me, as she was my manager back then. I was glad to see it. It was just, in my opinion, at that day, it was just what I needed, because I got a role which was maybe not very related to cybersecurity, but I left a role in another company where I was a consultant in cybersecurity. And I was really happy to see that I could continue my passion of cybersecurity also in the new role. And it came just like a glove, because even though the project was a bit challenging, being new in a role and also having to contain and work through this program, which has had challenges. It was not easy. There have been projects to do, there have been challenges. We had to read your book, and the passion for cybersecurity is not new, hasn't started last year, it has started a couple of years ago. It was actually something that I wanted to do. I liked security. I've been a consultant in security and identity, and then I moved to a more overview, broader role of consultancy, and then I moved specifically for my passion. I looked for opportunities and I looked for people who can help me grow into the world of cyber until I got my first project as a cybersecurity consultant, where I worked for the first time with a German company, and it was a really great opportunity for me. I learned a lot. I learned being in the field. I learned what it is to be behind SOC. I learned what it is to be a company using these products and being impacted, to not know what to choose, which products to choose, whether to be vendor locked or whether to choose different components, different applications. And it's just interesting to be on both sides.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you joined the program. Your participation was extremely impactful. You did great, and you are starting to harvest some of the results for sure. Now, Alex, you joined, interesting enough, you joined the second season. after you seen Iulia, looks like you started to do some homeworks and you got you got the itchy, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna join this too. But you are a manager, right? And you are a manager not necessarily in a secure field. So what really was the rationale of you joining this? Just for your own learning experience? It's just because you are also passionate about cyber, or were you just curious about?
So I think it's interestingly enough that Iulia's story and my story, they're kind of connected, and they kind of influenced on each other. I remember when Iulia joined my team and I saw the nominations for Women in Cybersecurity program that you were leading, Yuri, I thought, wow, this would be a great opportunity for Iulia to deep dive into this field that I knew it was very passionate for her, and to meet new people as a newcomer, to bond, build this networking. But I never expected the level of enthusiasm that I witnessed throughout her journey in Women in Cybersecurity program. So I think that involuntarily what influenced me to join the Women in Cybersecurity program was seeing Iulia so happy about it, seeing her thrive, seeing the community of other women who joined a field that was unknowledgeable for them. So I found this particularity and something in common with those women, something that perhaps Iulia hasn't shared with them because she was already familiarized with cybersecurity, whereas I was not. So when I saw that there's also an opportunity for someone who wants to learn about this field, wants to go deeper into this interesting field, I thought, okay, let's do it, because not only this interesting field represented more of a common goal for me, a common interest to learn about in the future, but it represented the right opportunity to join this program in a more structured approach, like you are leading it. So I think that all in all, it was our relationships and our visions and passions were influencing on each other, and that's how we both ended up with this nice outcome, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome that you end up getting inspired by your direct at that time, and you started doing this work. Now, I need to go back a little bit to explain to our audience why this Women's Cybersecurity Program we started in the first place, right? Because whoever is listening to this episode 0, our kickoff episode, may think, so what is this about? Well, I was hiring in Romania back last year, actually, and I noticed a big discrepancy when it comes to the applicants for the position. The vast majority, vast majority were male, and probably, for example, for every 10 applicants, probably 1 or 2 were females. And I was very curious because I knew that there were a lot of talented women in the IT field in Romania, mainly in software engineering, development, and things like that. So I was curious why they're not applying to the cybersecurity role. And I started to really dig and talk to some of the women in Microsoft Romania to better understand. And that's when I decided to create this program to really empower women to join the cybersecurity field. And we were very successful so far. First season, we had 30 people applying and 17 finished. Second season, again, 30 people apply and 27 people finish the program. So we have a lot of people that are already doing some sort of a cybersecurity job and work or even tasks, which is super important. But most importantly is the confidence that you can join this field even if you don't check all the boxes, which is something that we discuss a lot, right? And now I'll I'll go back to Iulia to ask how she changed her mind when it comes to approach, for example, in projects, or do you feel more confident after the program? Do you feel more confident in leading conversations about cybersecurity? What really changed on your approach after you finished the program?
Okay, first I'd like to go back a bit because while you were speaking, I was thinking about why didn't I, if I was already working in cybersecurity as a consultant and I changed my job, so I was looking for something else, why didn't I apply for something related to security, cybersecurity? And I was thinking about that, and it came to my mind that I was kind of afraid of joining this community of security, cybersecurity directly without an umbrella, without the umbrella of being a consultant or being something else while working with cybersecurity. I'm not entirely sure why. Where does this fear come from? Perhaps it's maybe a world that is a bit far away from me. It's a field that it's not, in my mind, not entirely friendly with women and not fit for women. To answer your question...
I'm glad you said on your mind, because I'm pretty sure that now you have a different perspective.
Yes, now it's very important, and how this switches, because while I learned that there is a community of women, and I got to know this amazing community of women who are passionate about cybersecurity and are so smart and so witty, so they think of solutions that the creative mind is perfect for cybersecurity, because you need to see multiple perspectives. You need to have a risk-based mindset to see all the risks, to see what could happen, to see how you can protect yourself from it. And I've got to know this amazing community, and it's so nice to know that you are not alone, that there are many women who are capable, you see them capable, so then you believe in yourself, you believe that, well, I could also be capable, I'm capable to do that. If the field would have more women, then I and we would feel more comfortable joining the field and doing what we love without being without having second thoughts.
Without being judged.
Exactly. Yeah. How this changed is now whenever I speak about security, I have more confidence because I get to have more impact in this field. I get to get myself involved in more opportunities about security. Now I see opportunities, I can attend to them, and a whole new world open that I can join and be confident that what I say is good and is valuable about security.
Yeah, you start to feeling that you belong because your level of confidence basically grew throughout the program. And Alex, I know that for you is a bit different. As I said, you are a manager, so you come from a different angle. But even for you, I think that something changed on your approach, didn't it?
Yes. Particularly, perhaps I haven't mentioned this earlier on. I have no technical background. So for me, this program represented a learning path from day zero. Okay, let's say day 2, because I worked a bit with cybersecurity and had a bit of interaction with my day-to-day life where we work. But it represented a huge change in mindset, in perspective, in showing that as women, we can cover jobs that up until that moment to me were predominantly male dominant jobs. And it represented a huge path forward to empowering other women to not only join this program, but to gain that confidence that even if they don't know something, they could learn along the job. They could feel more confident to at least apply to that role and build that confidence further on. So this was the major outcome that perhaps stood out for me after this program, that I have gained this confidence of being a bit more aware about the field of cybersecurity, aware of the opportunities, that this shouldn't be categorized as a male-dominant field, and the gap that exists today could be closer to zero if we bring more awareness to the table. So I think that's also the purpose of this podcast, right? To empower other women along the globe to feel confident, to start in a field that presumably was a male-dominant field. And it's always perception and preconceptions that exist in our mind. The biases that we form are only in our mind, and of course are based on generational information that was passed to us and that we witnessed around us. But that doesn't mean that this cannot change from this moment on forward. So the opportunity that we have today is to bring this empowerment to the next level, to start bringing this awareness to more women around the globe and get this confidence that me and Iulia have gained, right? After a few months of program, intense program, I won't lie, but after a few months of this program and of a good community, this is what we need to accomplish this.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And for our audience, I think that this also explains why we are creating, as Alex mentioned, why we create this podcast, because there's a lot of lessons learned for the past 2 seasons, and we are starting a new season by the end of July. But if you are listening to this podcast in August, we already started, but we are starting one at the end of July, season 3, and lessons learned will continue, and we're always going to bring those lessons to those episodes, as well as external guests that are already in the field working, that achieve great success in the field of cybersecurity. And they will share a lot of their journey. So when we create the podcast, was also with the intent to bring it and give it back to the community. This very woman-centric rationale, and the obstacles, the difficulties, the struggles, and how they overcame everything to be successful. And Alex, when you were talking, you touched some points that really match with the research that I did even before this podcast, when I was preparing the program last year, this year when I went to Bucharest to speak to the audience there about career in cybersecurity. But the top 5 reasons women don't join the cybersecurity field is, first, lack of awareness in early exposure. Many girls at the young age, they are not exposed to cybersecurity, so they don't even see this as a proper career path. There is also what you mentioned, stereotypes and gender bias. There is always that bias that, no, this is a male field, this is not for me. And lack of role models and mentorship is something that pops up in the list of things that is not there, and many women, they don't feel empowered to join. There is, of course, workplace culture. This really plays a big role, because some companies, they have a very male-dominant culture when it comes to cybersecurity, and do not embrace the diversity of thoughts and genders when it comes to ideas and things like that, and confidence and self-doubt. And I think that the confidence and self-doubt is something that I've seen a lot throughout the program. The infamous imposter syndrome is something that is real. And I would like to talk a little bit more about this. When it comes to you, Yulia, you are a very self-confident person. I mentor you since January, and I know you for a year now. And I always felt that you were very confident, but throughout the time, I also learned that you kind of have, or had in the past more than now, this imposter syndrome in some situations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I still do have it. So it, at this point, I think it's normal, at least for women working in men fields, so to say. So very technical, and even if it might not be very correct what I say, every day and at every work I've been working, all of my colleagues were mostly men, very few women. It has happened that I've been the only one, and then during the time more women have been hired. And not only this, but also the field is sometimes dominant with more experienced men, not only gender, but also more experience. So of course, there are times where you feel like you are maybe not welcome, you don't belong. Why am I here? Why would the customer who has 30 years of experience trust what I say?
And how are you dealing with this now? Are you because you said that you still do, but you getting better on this? You feel like you are making progress?
Yes, how I personally deal with this is that I try to get myself ready all the time. I keep myself up with the technology. I get myself certified. I do not let months pass on without consolidating my technical knowledge, my soft skills, my maybe getting into new technologies, finding opportunities, and I do not sleep on it. I work consistently, and this is the good part of the imposter syndrome. It's good to have it because sometimes it pushes you forward. It's not only a bad thing, but yes, if you let it dwell on you, it can
Yes.
be hard.
Yep. Yep. No, I love this. I love the fact that you are taking this negative feeling and transforming something positive to keep growing. I think that that's perfect. Alex,
Yeah.
I remember when we start the season 2, you were one of the ones that was always a high achiever. We talked about this before. I gave assignments to the whole group to deliver in 2 weeks. In 3 days, Alex had everything done. Always like overachieve like that. Do you struggle with imposter syndrome somehow, or you don't have this problem?
Hearing Iulia say this, that sometimes she feels the need to overcome that syndrome by doing more, pushing herself more, just to be heard, listened to, or make others think that her opinion is valuable too. I think that sticks with me as well. I think this is one aspect that I now had this aha moment while you were talking about this, that yes, I have this feeling that us women, not just in the cybersecurity field, in any probably technical field that is a bit more challenging, we have to prove ourselves even more compared to other men who already had the chance of more experience ahead of us. So I think the gap is because we didn't start with the same level of experience at the same time throughout generations. So now this era exists when us women were starting to tap these untapped markets and fields, but we don't have the existing experience that other men have. So the way to overcome it is to let's get certified. Let's have 5 certifications a year and then struggle with that. So it might be to a certain ridiculous extent, but in the end I agree. Is it bad? Is it bad for us to do this? Maybe
Yeah.
if we we position this in a good way for us, and if it doesn't rip away our work-life balance and our personal lives, I don't see it as necessarily as a bad thing if we go to
if you channel to the right way.
Yes.
No, I fully agree. I fully agree with you, and I think that I can relate a little bit to that from the sense that when I moved to US 22 years ago in 2003, I really had a bad English. Joining Microsoft was a struggle because my English was not good, and the way that I found to overcome that was be extremely technical and take certification and do everything related to my abilities so that I could prove myself that I belong, even though I was having a hard time to communicate, right? So I think that is the same thing as you try to compensate with other things. And it was good at that time, but of course I did my homework and I learned English throughout the years and did some English as a second language classes. And I think that this is what we need to do, right? What is in our control? There are things that are completely out of our control. Is it really worth to stress about those things if we have zero control? No, I don't think it is. I think we need to focus on the things that we can control, and readiness is one of those things. Because, and also is about your own identity. You are building your own identity, right? A lot of people, let's be honest, because we are recording this episode in July, and a couple weeks ago we had some layoffs at Microsoft, and a lot of people that are getting laid off, they are losing their identity because the identity was always attached to the company. So now they feel like, what am I going to do, right? And I think that this is the beauty about cybersecurity, is because if you are a cybersecurity professional, that's your identity, and you can fit in any cybersecurity role across the globe and in different companies. So that's the beauty, I think, about it, of this field. What's your thoughts on that? Now, going back to Alex, as a manager, how you think people should cope with this feeling of losing the identity, and what will be your advice as a manager?
What I noticed is that exactly in these difficult times that people get this news, unexpected news that don't fit their regular routine messages, etc. I think that's the aha moment they get when they realize that I'm glued and I only identify myself with this company and with this role. So what happens if they rip that away from me? And this is what is torn them apart. So my advice would be to not wait until, hopefully nobody gets this, but to not wait until that moment comes, and to try to find your identity, your persona, what would be your areas of interest. Who are you outside this company that you work for, and what do you know? What are your key strengths, and what do you want to do in the future that are company agnostic? So to be more attuned to themselves, that would be my advice. Yeah. Find out who you are, what do you want, what are your passions, and also build on that network. I think that even if you do a great job and nobody knows about you and you don't have a good network, then this will add probably months or even years before you get the job that you probably could have taken if you had a better networking in place. So communicating, being out there all the time, staying up to speed with what's happening in the industry, staying relevant, and being passionate, and also working towards your passion, not in a passive way, right? Because you can be passionate about something but not work towards it. Putting yourself to work every day for yourself is my key takeaway. Finding out who you are outside the company. And it's also another key point that I had following this program, that I had this moment when I realized that my identity could be a bit changed, because I suddenly fell in love with cybersecurity field, and I didn't know about this passion up until we went through the program. I had an idea, of course, what cybersecurity implies, what would be some areas, but I didn't know it was that fun. And I don't know if it's just me, but for women, the cybersecurity field, like, we're natural detectives. We can do this. So
Yeah. Well, y'all have a lot of good qualities when it comes to investigation, for sure. My experience with this program has been tremendous on that. Um, Iulia, do you have anything to add on what Alex said?
Maybe just reinforce the fact that you have to invest in yourself. Find out who you are and invest not only at the job, but outside as well. Have your own identity. And this will take you everywhere, with every job.
Yep. No, this is something that I always tell people, is like, what you learn is yours. No one takes away from you. So every time that we talk about education, readiness, I'm a big advocate, not because I'm a university professor. Of course, I have my bias to teach in university and everything, but I think that what you learn and what you become, it's you, and no one can take away from you. So yes, you may get fired, but guess what? Everything that you have as far as knowledge is still yours. And don't wait until your manager give you a career plan. It's your career. You need to drive the conversation, you need to drive the steps, you need to know what you want, and you need to go after. Of course, having support from the manager is the ideal scenario, but you cannot wait for the manager to say, hey, what about your career? What do you want to do? No, go ahead and start the conversation and make sure that you are on top of that. And going back to the networking that Alex mentioned, think about it. If it was not for the program, the network that we create, this podcast was not even going to happen. So correct. If both of you didn't have joined the program, first you wouldn't have the mindset that you have today when it comes to cyber, and this network that we created wouldn't be possible. So think about how important it is, right? Iulia, when it comes to network, what would be your tips on that?
Well, it's important to have a network. So it's important, even now, I think that before joining this program, I didn't know that these many women are interested in cybersecurity. Imagine in 1 year, there are already maybe 60 women in the same company that have this wish of becoming more, or have this passion about cybersecurity. I didn't know that. You don't know this when you join a company and you talk about security. Nobody says that, yes, I like this field, let's talk about it. Now we have a whole community to which we can talk to, we can share challenges, we can share events, we can go together. So as me and Alexa will go together to the Cybersea Festival in Constanța in Romania next week. And it's just great. I can't wait to see how many women will be there interested in cybersecurity. This is great. This is a great wave that, in my opinion, you started, Yuri, in the world. I don't know what happened. From now, last year to now, I don't know what happened, but people are more and more interested in cybersecurity. And not only people, but women are taking over this field. And it's great because we are naturals, as Alexa said.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes y'all were in this house where all the windows were closed, and I came to the house and I opened all the windows. You were like, oh, look at this world outside. It's so cool. I can actually go there, So because the talent was already there. It was more about, hey, this is available for you. Go after, right? And this is the difference between you experience something reading and you experience something doing it, right? For example, when you travel to see new places. It's a completely different experience of watching a video on YouTube, because you are there feeling, all your senses are engaged, and you are like, oh, this place is awesome. I didn't realize how good it is to go to this place.
Yeah.
I recently went to Portugal, and everyone told me in the past, Lisbon is different than Porto and everything. I was like, no, everything is Portugal. It should be the same. But it's not. Porto has a different vibe than Lisbon, and I really enjoyed there. But why? Because I actually had the experience to go and do it and live that experience. So there is a huge discrepancy between knowing something in theory, be aware that something exists, and enjoying a group of minded people with the same objective. Because it's very, the enthusiasm of the group is super important. That's why networking is critical. Now, we are coming up to the end of this first episode, and I just want to wrap up this saying that we're going to have, as I said, a lot of guests. The first episode, the kickoff here, is more about why we are creating this and how we want to empower women to be in this field of cybersecurity, because there are many opportunities there. And y'all have a lot of skills that can be utilized. And talking about skills, I just want to wrap up with these questions. When it comes to soft skills, and based on your experience working with the projects in cybersecurity that you work, which soft skill do you think is one of the most critical ones? Let's start with Alex.
Adaptability. Resiliency.
Great,
yeah, and resiliency, because as I said, for women, right, it's a skill that you must have, and if you want to overcome this male dominant field. And always keep a growth mindset. I know this is a word we use in the company we work for, but always keep a growth mindset. Because if you do that, if you're open-minded and continuously investing in yourself and in your learning, you're only becoming a better version of yourself in time, which will then in turn help you be a better cybersecurity professional.
Yep. Iulia.
I would say the first one that comes to my mind is relationship management and knowing how to talk to people, because there is a very thin line between scaring people and helping them from a security point of view. Because yes, taking the risk, you are looking at some recommendations, you are looking at a security risk that you see, you're communicating that to the customer or to who is impacted. How are you communicating it is very important. Trying to prove the value, to showcase the value, to discuss the trade-offs, to discuss what's important for them, and not to scare away, because security conversations are oftentimes not very easy to be held. They have big implications, and often you don't see the risk right away. You'll always be thinking, like, who will do this to me, or why would this happen to me? Why would this affect me? It's just a vulnerability.
Yep. No, I love this one. Communication skills is super important, and know how to deliver the message. This is really, really critical for cybersecurity professionals, and communicating according to the audience, because the way that you are going to communicate, if you are talking to a CISO, is completely different if you are talking with a pen tester, right? So knowing the target audience is super important too.
Yep,
I agree.
So growth mindset, as you said, Alex, is something that we talk a lot about in the company that we work for. But growth mindset probably is one of the biggest one, because it goes back to what Iulia said in the beginning of the show about understand that you can grow, understand that your abilities can evolve with time. If you have a fixed mindset, you immediately will jump to a program like this and say, no, this is not for me, like without even trying. So be willing to fail. Super important. You have to be willing to fail, because if you are not failing, you are not trying. you have to try, you have to fail, and you have to continue to move on. So don't be afraid to fail. This will be my main recommendation. For example, even if you are already in a good level of cybersecurity and you apply for a job and you don't get that job in the first try, okay. The question is, what did you learn with that experience? Go ahead and apply again. Get better and apply again. I've seen people that to join Microsoft, did at least 5 or 10 interviews before joining. Their resilience, as Alex says, is important. So that's really a good way to finish this first episode. As I said, I'm super excited about this, and I'm very honored to have Iulia and Alex in this project with me. Super excited to help the community, and we have a lot of cool stuff coming up. Iulia and Alex, they came up with idea about the hat and questions from the blue or the red hat, so it will be fun. We will continue to evolve. We may have prizes as well, so stay tuned. This podcast will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to all those channels so that you can get the notifications that we have new episodes. But as far as cadence, we plan to have one episode every other week, so a bi-weekly show. And we will continue to evolve and to bring very interesting people to talk. Thank you very much, Yuri and Alex. I'm allowing you to get your top of mind, wrap up thoughts before we end the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, and for the guests watching us, be kind and patient with us. We will be better with every episode that comes by. It's something very new for us, so therefore embracing our growth mindset and getting out of the comfort zone is one of the key areas. And with this, I pass the mic to Iulia.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say, because even if we haven't done this before and maybe we're a bit uncomfortable, and naturally we are fun people, but sometimes when you put the camera up, you forget that and you don't feel as good, because we discussed, yes, the imposter syndrome. In the end, we are here to grow the community, to give you interesting and motivational content. So maybe the attention shouldn't be full on us, it should be on our invitees. They have cool stories, you will see, and we can't wait for the next episodes to be on air.
Awesome. So with that, we are wrapping up. Thank you for your audience. Make sure to share this episode to your friends, and see you again next time.
See you. Bye.
See you.